Hi, I'm Scotty Horey and welcome back to Snapshots of a Journey. This video, of course, is going to be on the drum kit and I'm going to talk about some advanced soloing concepts. I have more of a background of a concert percussionist and orchestral percussionist. I always taught myself drum kit and always had personal goals and always implemented what I learned in other areas of percussion to my drum set playing. So one thing that's been really important in my solo concerts in recent years is playing drum solos, unaccompanied drum solos. Sometimes I like to play them with playback tracks, but I like to just do it old school style and construct a solo and have a big climactic ending. A big chunk of the middle part of the solo, as exemplified in my prior episode, was multiple pedal ostinatos and how cool those are to use in solos and how much expressive and compositional options you get from doing that. Now, because of my background, not only with classical music and orchestral percussion, but with contemporary classical music and marimba, I have what I believe to be a pretty unique approach to the drums, especially when I play a solo. The drum set can be used to play multiple voices, use different sound color, make premeditated orchestration instead of just improvising all the time, take advantage of the larger setup like I was talking about in the gear talk, all the different colors available to me, but also subtle phrasing things that you hear in concert percussion or in multiple percussion solos in a percussion recital, for example, which you don't hear very often with rock drum set solos. Especially with the multiple pedal ostinatos, I like to take advantage of all these things. So with what I like to do, first of all, it's a physical challenge. I always like a physical challenge to practice. I'm going to get a multiple pedal ostinato going, and then I'm going to play some things over the hands, over the top of it with my hands. And those just aren't random chops kinds of things. They're melodic ideas, they're formal ideas, they're ideas that might even suggest melodies or even harmonies, especially using the 5 toms, as well as, like I said, exploring sound color and the various textures you can create with that, especially with all these beautiful Sabian cymbals, most notably the splashes and the Chinese cymbals. So let me show you some specific examples. We're going to start with the foot ostinato first. Check it out. Okay, so the ostinato that I try to commit to in the middle of the solo without breaking it and improvising into something else is as follows. And I want to say that drummers like Mike Mangini and then later on Thomas Lang are really the masters of this. So you should check out Thomas Lang's Creative Control, or if you can catch Mike Mangini in a clinic, as I did when I was a teenager, you'll never be the same. One thing that was really powerful to me when I saw Mike Mangini when I was younger is how much direction and force and sound he did with the bass drum, especially when he was playing some of these ostinatos. It's very strong, forceful sound, and he was able to do different dynamic things with his hands over that. So let me show you this one. It's kind of a Brazilian pattern, actually, which is completely accidental, by the way. I use an inverted double stroke, and I use 4 different pedals. Here it is, very slow. Okay, let's do that one more time. A little bit faster. Right? About the tempo I try to get it in the solo is not too fast, but still has that a laid back feeling. That's the ostinato, and it takes a lot of practice to get that very, very even and not have it interrupted when you're playing other things. So it takes some independence training and some slow practice, as well as a motor memory proficiency by just doing it repetitively over and over again. You can do more obscure things like try movement exercises while you do the ostinato instead of just sitting there with the metronome, right? That can make it a little more interesting. Like this, for example. So it works your coordination and ensures that you're still keeping that ostinato even for the most part as best you can. Now the hand patterns. I'm just going to start with the same value note, 16th notes, but I'm going to play them in a different format, and I'm going to play some melodic ideas on the toms. The melodic and harmonic motive I start with in the solo sounds a little bit like this. Let's turn the snares off for you. Okay, which maybe suggests two different chords, right? And I'm going to play that over the ostinato. For example. And now I'm going to start to play with some compound stickings. Diddle in the middle, single paradiddle, double paradiddle, maybe even some quintuplets or flam patterns. And I'm going to make it a little more interesting melodically with my hands. I can also use triple strokes, which you noticed I use in the solo. It may take some slow practice to get the coordination, but there's a lot of melodic ideas here. Now, for an added challenge, you can use triplet diddles, like for example, a swung 6-stroke roll or a paradiddle diddle, like this. Okay, so you have some melodic ideas there while you're playing the ostinato. Okay, and you can get that into a flow. Now, this is where it gets a little more challenging. In the solo, I move up to these bells and these octabuns to provide a new timbre, and I try testing the limits of my coordination. I might start playing 8th note quintuplets or 16th note quintuplets, and then I'm going to copy the same thing on this to get a variation in timbre. 16th note quintuplet perhaps is sticked in the following way: right, left, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, left. Between these two sounding bells. And here's the quarter note, right? 3, 4. I'm going to repeat the same thing on these drums. Okay, and you might also notice I'm adding some subtle phrasing. This is something that a lot of rock drummers don't do, like I was doing earlier here. Hear that? Okay, so some shading, louder and softer. You want to do this, see what you can get away with while keeping that ostinato solid. Almost like an orchestra playing, right? Two different sections of the orchestra. So anyway, back to it. Let's see if I can show you this quintuplet idea against the ostinato, which is a coordination challenge, right? So on and so on. So that's how some of these ideas take shape. So in closing, I want to encourage you to think about the drum set as a very expressive solo instrument that can have all these components of musical expression at your disposal, especially when you're playing unaccompanied. And how expressive I can get with the pedals and provide the illusion of more than one person playing. Thanks so much for watching Snapshots of a Journey again. I hope you get something out of this video, and make sure to check out the next episode.